friends, welcome back to week 3 of the Pantry Challenge. I'm so glad that you are here with me this week. We are almost through with January. This week was fun. I just want to say it got a little crazy at the end just because we are going out of town on Saturday. The rest of our road trip will fall into the following week. We are making a 14-hour round trip this weekend. Yeah, a lot of time in the truck for us and Declan. It's going to be not a whole lot of fun, but my goal is for us to really eat from this Pantry Challenge and not stop for a whole lot of fast food or gas station convenience foods or anything like that. So that is my goal. You can see what we get for road trip snacks, see how that goes for us. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, best things always are, right? Okay, so let's get into this. Let's get to the grocery shopping and to the cooking. I'll see y'all again at the end of the video. Alright friends, so for this week's grocery haul, I'm going to go ahead and let you know I went over by like $2, but I got some great things, and to me, that $2 was totally worth it. If you don't want to go over by $2, just leave one thing off. There's several things you could choose to do without, but this is what we've done and I'm happy with what we've spent. Also, on top of this, there are 2 gallons of milk that are already in the fridge outside that are missing from this grocery haul. So I went to 2 different grocery stores, Food Line and Walmart, to get this haul. So we're going to start on the left and work our way right. I have 4 bags of pork skins. These were buy one get one free. As you can see, Declan ate 1 bag on our way home from grocery shopping because he was hungry. He loves pork skins. We have a road trip we have to take this weekend, so 2 of these bags will be for the road trip, and then 1 will be for a snack throughout the week. I've got lots of cheeses back here, some Fiesta blend cheese that will go for dinner tonight with fajitas, some provolone cheese that will go for our sandwiches for our road trip, and then some mozzarella cheese that will go on pizza this week. I have 4 bell peppers. These were on sale at Food Line for 59 cents a piece, so I picked up 4. 1 yellow onion. Some apples for my snack at work this week. I've got to work the next 3 nights, so that'll be fun. So I'll take these apples, some cheese sticks I purchased in the first week of the grocery haul. I'm still eating on those. And then some leftovers, boiled eggs and stuff like that. Pico de gallo for our fajitas tonight. This is one thing you could leave off to stay under the budget, but I really wanted this for fajitas. This chicken back here was on sale for 99 cents a pound. So I paid $6.10 for a 6.16 pound whole chicken. I will actually be using this next week in pantry meals, but I went ahead and bought it because that is a great price. This ham was kind of what sent me over the top because I was not expecting to buy this. Did not know this was on sale. Walmart had their spiral cut hams on sale for $1 a pound. So I got 11.62 pound ham for $11.62. This is what ended up sending me over. I kind of did a meal plan switch in the store, but totally worth it. I'm going to get several meals out of the price for this ham, and I'm super excited with that purchase. I did get 1 more to go in our stockpile of groceries, so that will come out of my stock up budget, and that will go in the freezer. And then deep dish pie crust. This has 2 deep dish pie crusts. I told Declan I would make him pumpkin pie, and I had to hold up my end of the deal. I don't have time this week to make pie crust from scratch because I'm making a whole lot of other things from scratch. So I had to give in on one thing, and pie crust was the way we did it. Alright friends, that's what I have for this week. It's going to be a week of interesting meals. Let's see what we make. Alright friends, it is week 3 of the Pantry Challenge, and we are kicking it off with Dutch Baby. Y'all know this is one of our most cooked recipes here on our homestead because we have chickens who lay eggs, and we got to use those eggs up. Dutch Baby is a great way to do that. It uses quite a bit of eggs. For this recipe, I'm actually going to use 8 eggs. If you want to learn how to make this, the recipe will be linked in the description box below. All it is flour, sugar, salt, eggs, vanilla, milk. That's it, guys. Now, I know I didn't walk you step by step and give you all of the ingredients in this video. Like I said, Dutch Baby appears very frequently on our channel. It is in week 1 pantry video. It is in week 2 pantry video. It is on our blog. It is in our pantry videos from last year. So if you are new to our pantry challenge videos, please check those out. If you don't feel like checking those out at this moment and you want to run off and make a Dutch Baby, the recipe is linked down below. Just trust me. It's worth it. Check it out. Make this recipe. You will not be sorry. It is fantastic. And I did serve this with some hard-boiled eggs to add in even more protein in our breakfast. Continue on this week by meal prepping. I don't normally meal prep. I like to do more spur of the moment cooking, but it's a busy week with work and then us going out of town at the end of the week. So I know I need to meal prep or I'm going to end up going crazy and running out and grabbing fast food from being overwhelmed. This is that ham I bought for 99 cents a pound. I'm going to cook it in my Instant Pot, but my Instant Pot is not big enough to hold the whole ham. So I will trim it up and cut off slices of the ham. That's going to go in a Ziploc bag and into the freezer. I will pull it out at the end of the week and make something out of it then. The Instant Pot has recently become one of my favorite ways to cook things like ham and turkey, especially for holiday meals, because it is quick and easy to get it done. It is kind of a set it and forget it type deal. I had to learn to do it this way when we moved into our RV because an RV oven is not big enough to cook a holiday ham or turkey. And if I'm going to go through the pain of doing it, I'm going to do something big enough for all of us to enjoy and to enjoy for several days. Now, I did go ahead and use the brown sugar seasoning packet that came with this ham in a cup of water. I don't normally use that, but in the spirit of the pantry challenge, I decided not to let it go to waste. Remember, we're just going to put this on for an hour. That gets it all the way done and completely tender. The Instant Pot is your friend, my friend. So here's that ham I cut off and into the freezer it will go. All right, so on to the next meal prepping project. Pumpkin pie. I know it's not the normal thing people meal prep, but I promised it to Declan, and with the busy week coming up, I know I will not have a chance to do it. So here we are. I've got this giant thing of pure pumpkin. It is not the pre-mixed with the seasoning and everything in it. This is pure pumpkin, and this is a large can, so it's basically 2 of the regular smaller cans. Now, the whole thing that spurred this pumpkin pie on was during this pantry challenge, Kenneth opened a can of condensed milk because we ran out of milk. He needed something for his coffee, so that was his solution, and I wanted to use it up. So we're going to use it in this recipe. I've got 1 can here of evaporated milk that is not open. So that's going to go in as well with our pure pumpkin. And then we're going to have this open can of sweetened condensed milk. As you can see, he's had some of it out of there. So since it's already open, I will add just a bit of sugar in with this to keep the sweetness up because condensed milk is very sweet. If I did not have this can open, I would not be adding in the sugar. So just be aware of that. And then I'm going to add in 4 eggs to this. And then we will do 2 tablespoons of pumpkin pie spice and 1 teaspoon of salt. That is all she wrote, friends. It is easy and it is delicious to make homemade pumpkin pie. One year I hope to do this with my own canned pumpkin, but I'm just not there yet. My pumpkins from last year only grew 1 pumpkin on the vine, and it never even ripened. It never turned orange. It was not a good success. Mix it all up. Get all of that spices incorporated, those eggs broken up, and then it will be ready to go into our pie dish. Now, I did purchase that frozen pie dish, so you'll see that. It does come in a 2-pack, but I'm only going to use 1. As you will see, I do my own pumpkin pies in a baking dish without a crust because I am on a lower carb diet than the rest of my family, so I do not eat crust on my pies if I can help it. This is just the way I prefer to do it. It looks a little darker on camera than it actually is in person. I promise none of this is burnt. But there's our ham and our pumpkin pies. It was late at night. The lights were dim. That's what's going on there. Okay, so our next meal, this is for the next 2 dinners where I actually work the next 2 days. So that's why I'm going ahead and cooking it up. It's going to be steak fajitas. So this is that steak I had left over from making our home rendered tallow. Y'all have seen it multiple times throughout this pantry challenge. Unfortunately, this is the last of the steak. I have no more of that steak. I need to go out and get some more beef for tallow and hopefully get a great deal on steak as well because it made awesome fajitas. In goes all 4 of our chopped bell peppers and 1 of our chopped up white onions. We will cook this peppers and onions together until they start to get cooked through and then add the meat back in so that it can all cook together just for a minute or 2 and let those flavors blend. Here goes our meat back in. Beautiful, delicious steak for our fajitas. Now, you haven't seen me season any of this, but that is because the meat was frozen in a marinade. So if you've missed those videos, that's what happened there. Now, look at our fajitas here. Do you notice those homemade tortillas that these fajitas are going on? Oh my goodness. They were amazing. So good. And never fear, friends, because I am fixing to show you how to make these delicious tortillas. I do have an Instagram reel and I think a YouTube short video on this. So if you follow me on either of those, you may already know how. If you don't follow me, here's the recipe. 2.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of fat of your choice. In this recipe, you will see me use tallow, but melted butter or lard will also work. If you don't have those, vegetable oil or even olive oil could probably work as well. And then you need 1 cup of warm water. You probably won't use the whole cup. I use about 3/4 of the cup when I make them, but keep 1 cup on hand just in case you need the full cup. That's it. That's all the ingredients. I have made these multiple times since that first day. So mix your dry ingredients together. Add in your fat. Run your hand through that flour where your fat is and kind of mix all of that flour into your fat. Your goal is to coat all of your flour pieces with the fat. Then you add in your water a little bit at a time until you get a dough ball. Once it is sticking together and making a dough ball, you have enough water, you're done. Take it out and knead it just for a few minutes. You don't want to over knead this. And then divide it into dough balls. For this recipe, about 10 dough balls make some pretty decent size burrito tortillas. If you want smaller taco size, like I like street taco size, you can even cut this into even more and do maybe 20 small tortillas, however you like it. Then cover them on the table with a towel. Let them set for 30 minutes. When that's done, all you have to do is flatten them out, roll them out with a rolling pin, or use a tortilla press if you have one of those. I don't. Rolling pin I do have. So you want to roll these out as flat as you can get them. The goal is if you hold it up to a light, you want to be able to see the light shining through the tortillas. Yes, it is going to look super, super thin, but as they cook, they will puff up and they will get thicker. So make sure you roll them out very thin. Into a hot, dry skillet. As you can see from this, I've used this many times tonight to make tortillas. We're about halfway through the batch now. Lay your tortilla dough on that hot, dry skillet. No oil in the skillet. That's what hot, dry means. and watch it bubble up. It takes about a minute to 2 per side, and that is it. Stay close. I kind of let mine get a little over bubbly. At this point, you'd have already flipped it, but I was distracted and just left the camera rolling for y'all. So it's going to get very big bubbles in it. If it does that, it's okay. The trick is when you pull your tortillas out of the pan after you flip them, let them cook, get done on both sides. When you pull them out of the pan and you put them on a plate, cover them back over with your towel. The heat from them will steam them, and it makes it perfect. Makes them perfect. There is another night of fajitas for y'all. So we had fajitas 2 nights back to back. They were so good. So the next night, I had to deal with that ham that I meal prepped. Unfortunately, after meal prepping it, it was late. So I didn't go ahead and cut it up and put it in dishes like I should have. I left it in the Instant Pot, let it cool down, and stuck it in the fridge. Now, as you can see, all of the fat has congealed around it. Yeah, it was a mess. So I just cut off as much as I could and cut that up so I could fry it up for dinner. And then while that cooked, I worked on getting the rest of it cut off the bone as fast as I could. Now, since I had all that fat in the Instant Pot, I just went ahead and took a big scoop of that, put it in my cast iron, and that's what we're going to fry our ham in. So we're going to fry our ham in ham fat. Why not? Because it's already cooked, I don't want it to cook for too long. I put a lid on here to retain the heat and help it heat both sides and all the way through. In this pot of water, we are making macaroni and cheese. Of course, the Velveeta kind, because that is Declan's favorite, and I have a ton of it in my pantry. Whew. Yeah. And then I just served this with some home canned cranberry sauce, which is delicious if you've never tried it. So much better than store-bought. And that was it. Simple, easy. The next night we had ham again, but I just made canned peas and canned carrots to go with it. Another simple, easy meal. Now, on to the next night. We had scrambled eggs for breakfast the next day, and that is what I'm making here. I like to go ahead and grease all the way up the side of my cast iron skillet when I make eggs. That way it doesn't stick. I hate scrambled eggs that stick to cast iron skillet, so make sure it's really well seasoned and coated in a oil and warm before you throw your eggs in there. Let them cook for a bit. You want them to start getting some doneness to them before you start stirring them. So that's the trick to making scrambled eggs in a cast iron skillet that don't stick. That's all there is to it. And we had just plain eggs for breakfast. It is okay to feed your family plain scrambled egg for breakfast. Declan loves it. We love it. It's simple, it's easy, and it uses up eggs when you have chickens on your homestead. Yes, little boy, dig into them farm-raised eggs. Delicious breakfast. Oh, I love that kid. Okay, so our next night, this is Friday night, the night before our road trip. I am making pizzas. Now, the plan is to make 2 batches of pizzas. That way we can take some in the cooler with us and have cold pizza to snack on throughout the trip. This recipe, I do have a pizza recipe on my website. I will link it down below. Here you will see me do the lazy version of it because I had a busy day going on this day. So basically I made my pizza dough, and instead of kneading it and doing all that, I let it set and proof, kind of overproof, basically for hours while I went out and did the things I needed to do. That is okay. It gives your pizza dough a more yeasty flavor, and a lot of people actually prefer it that way. I have seen great pizza makers who say you should let your dough proof for 2 days to give it a really good yeast flavor. And as you probably noticed when I did my yeast mixture, I used honey in it instead of sugar. That is a great way to cut down your processed sugar. If you want to use honey, just know that honey is twice as sweet as sugar, so cut it in half. Again, this whole recipe is on my blog, so don't stress about missing it. I did use tallow as my fat in here. We have a lot of canned tallow. not a whole lot of olive oil, and I'm trying to make it through the pantry challenge without buying any more oil, so you see a lot of tallow in here. Now my little helper wanted to be helping hands and is stirring this up for me. Can get a little hard for him when it's thick, but that's okay. He's working on building up that arm strength and mixing things, and one day he will be a pro in the kitchen. All right, so I'm just going to knead it for about 2 minutes to kind of make sure all of that is combined. And then that's it, friends. Cover it with a towel. Let it set for a few hours. Alternatively, you could have continued to knead it until you had a nice smooth dough and let it set for 30 minutes. I didn't. So instead, I let it proof in this bowl for, I think we were gone a good 4 to 6 hours maybe. And then just punch it down, knead it for a few more minutes. And then I cut it up into dough balls and covered it with a towel, letting it rest for 30 minutes on the counter. Now I'm going to make my dough and everything on parchment paper on my table to try to limit as much cleaning as possible. I tend to be very messy when I work with dough and flour, and we are leaving in the morning to go on a road trip where I will spend 14 hours in a truck. So doing a big clean job on my kitchen the night before is not really what I want to do. So that's what this is about. Parchment paper is a pain in the butt to deal with, but it worked. Here are my pizza dough balls all set up and ready for their 30-minute rest on the counter before I start making out our pizzas. All right, so we have rested for 30 minutes. As you notice, they kind of rose a little bit more. That is exactly what we're looking for. And then I just have some more parchment paper, and I work from the inside out with my fingertips to get our pizza rounds. By pressing on it like this with your fingertips, you are making air pockets in your dough, and that just gives it that fantastic lift and chew. It just makes a really good dough. Just trust me. It makes a really good dough. And then I pre-bake my crust in the oven for about 10 minutes a piece. That's what you see here. After they are all getting pre-baked, then we will sauce them up and cheese them up. But I find pre-baking it on a pizza pan really helps to get a crispy crust on bottom. Another trick to getting a crispy crust on bottom is to put about a teaspoon of cornmeal on your parchment paper before you put your pizza dough on there, because that will give you a little crunch on the bottom. So the sauce that you see on these looks a little thick. It is a little thick. I think it's from week 1 of the Pantry Challenge where I made homemade pasta and I used our home canned ground beef in the pasta sauce. Yes, I had a lot of that sauce left over and I froze it for pizzas. So it looks thick because it already has meat in the sauce. To our pizza, I added mozzarella cheese and then Fiesta blend cheese on top just to kind of clean up some cheeses we had in the fridge. Declan likes plain cheese pizza, so I went ahead and stuck his in the oven. Mine, I have some of that cooked ham that we meal prepped. I just chopped it up into little bits, or it's the little bits off the bone, stuff like that. I froze a lot of it for pizzas, but here is it, some of it on my pizza. And then I have frozen banana peppers and bell peppers that I keep in my freezer for pizzas. These are back from our garden from last summer. I just chop them up and put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer, and then I have them available whenever I need them for my pizza. Add a little bit more cheese on top of your toppings to hold your toppings in place. That is the trick to adding a lot of toppings to your pizza. Cheese on top and cheese on bottom holds them in place. Okay, so let me explain what's going on here. My oven died. We couldn't get it to stay lit. I have a gas propane oven, and Kenneth thinks the thermostat is going out in it, so it would not stay lit to finish our pizzas. Luckily, all of our crusts got pre-baked, and Declan's cheese pizza got to go in the oven, but it didn't get finished. So my solution was to put them in my cast iron skillet and add a lid on top to help the cheese get melted, because really all I have to do at this point is to heat it through and melt the cheese, and our dinner will be done. I didn't end up doing all of our pizzas. I only did enough for tonight. The second batch went into the freezer for another night because I was so incredibly frustrated with my oven at this point because it just kept dying and we couldn't keep it to stay lit. Oh my goodness, not what you want on a pizza night. The night before you go on a road trip. It has been a hot mess, and a little update for y'all. No, my oven is not fixed yet, so nothing in the oven, and all I could think at this point was that means no Dutch babies. We have Dutch babies every week. No Dutch babies if you don't have an oven to cook them in. So, the solution was to cook them on the stovetop in a cast iron pan. It somewhat worked. I mean, our pizzas got done, and at this point, that's all I could ask for. It was late at this point because I was fighting with oven for so long. We were just hungry, ready to get in bed, and frustrated that all of this happened the night before we were headed out of town on a 14-hour road trip. Oh, friends, let me tell you. Sometimes life is just like that. Our pizza did get done, so that's the least I could ask for. It got a little bit dark on bottom, but it was still edible and still delicious, so we dealt with it. It is the next morning, the morning of our road trip, and we're going to get started with some breakfast. Now, remember that ham that I cut off, the actual ham, because it wouldn't fit in my Instant Pot? Here it comes back to play. I fried it up in a cast iron skillet, and we had it for breakfast. It was delicious. I cooked up that entire Ziploc bag full, and what I did with it was we ate what we could for breakfast. What didn't get eaten for breakfast got put in a container and taken in the cooler with us on the road trip and became a delicious snack along the way. It was a great way for me to get in some high protein, low carb snacks on a road trip that tend to be very carb heavy experiences for me because gas station chips and candy bars were always my go-to. But having ham and something like cheese on hand was great for us for this road trip. So highly recommend that in the future. If you are doing road trips, take you along some leftover ham or something. You could also make sandwiches out of it, which was originally my plan, but didn't happen. Instead, we just ate it like it was. Now, to pair with that ham for breakfast, I also made up some fried eggs. We love fried eggs around here. Kenneth likes his yolks a little runny. We do not like ours runny. Or I should say me and Declan do not like ours runny. How do you like yours? Are you team runny yolks or team better not run at all? Because we are team better not run at all for me and Declan. I love to know how people like their eggs. So I fried them up in my cast iron skillet. They made a great pairing with that ham. Oh, didn't want to flip very well. The trick to making fried eggs in cast iron skillet, again, is loads of fat in your pan. Get it hot before you put your eggs in. Always works, man. That's your trick. And a well-seasoned cast iron skillet, of course. I need to get me a better egg flipper thingy than this wooden spatula. It doesn't like to balance the eggs on it very well. Alright friends, so that was our week 3 video. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed what y'all did get to see. If you have a favorite recipe from this week, please let me know what it is down in the comments below. I'm always interested in what y'all choose to be your favorite recipes. If there's anything similar that your family makes that I am making, let me know how you make it a little different. Let me know what you like to do, what your little tweaks are. And if you try any of these recipes, let me know that too. This is, of course, week 3, so make sure you check out the rest of the Pantry Challenge videos. Week 4 will be up very soon. And don't forget to check out our 2022 Pantry Challenge playlist. I did participate in the Pantry Challenge then, and you'll see some fun recipes there too. So that's all I have for you today, friends. Check out some more of our videos, and until next time, bye. I will see you later.